give you guys some great tips that support both EMFs, such as 5G, but really all EMFs, and CV. And I'm going to call it CV throughout the presentation. The thing that came around in 2019 that's like spread all around and everybody's flipped out about it and you see it on the news all the time. We're going to refer to that today as CV. Now, I'm not going to lean over every time, but my paper's kind of welting here. So I first want to cover why is EMF Solutions, am I personally or EMF Solutions people, are we concerned or worried about 5G in general? And the answer is no, absolutely not. We have so many testimonials, so many proofs. I have personally and my wife done the blood tests. We've done the thermal imaging tests. We've done all these different tests showing that our stuff is working. We've done muscle tests. We've had personal testimonials. I even lived 10 yards on purpose after I knew it was there, over 3 years next to a 5G cell tower. That's 10 yards away. My wife pretty much got rid of chronic fatigue during that time, 10 yards from a 5G tower, and I had blossomed in all kinds of neat ways that I could go into. So no, we're not really concerned about it. Now, if I didn't think there was a solution that worked, which is the only one I've seen, and that's not just because this is where I work, EMF Solutions, the only one I've seen fully address the root cause correctly and deal with this is our products. If we didn't have that, I would be super concerned. I'd be out there trying to ban this stuff. I am not trying to ban this stuff because this technology comes with amazing gifts, live streaming video in the middle of nowhere. I drove all the way across the country. I never stopped live streaming stuff to keep me awake as I was driving by myself a couple of years ago. There's so many neat things that come along with this and benefit society. So we're for this stuff, but man, you need to address it. Holy cow. And I wanted to go next into how is 5G and CV related. Now I'm going to go into a little conspiracy theory here. I might get my hands on an article right now. I don't have my hands on it, but a friend of mine, a colleague, a medical doctor, talked about this. First, I will say that CV in general, forget what you know, because we don't know anything. I mean, it's a joke. This whole thing's a joke. You try to get information on the news, and you guys all know. You hear one thing, you hear a different thing. I don't trust anything. I don't know, is it a natural virus? Is it a man-made virus? Is it not a virus at all? I don't know what it is. And I'm sure everybody's got their strong theories based on good evidence, but I can say that the World Health Organization has said don't do autopsies on this because it's not safe or what have you, but Russia said the heck with that. They did a bunch. They have their own theory that's not even a virus. They think that 5G combined with this bacteria is really the cause of what's going on and spreading this. So who the heck knows? I'm going to look into that soon. I don't have my hands on that article or study yet, but that's going to be coming soon. But I'm going to tell you what we do know and some common sense and how they're related. This is a very important way they're related. CV has been shown to damage RNA, which is very similar to DNA. Now, 5G and 4G and power lines and cell phones and Wi-Fi routers and all that has been shown many, many, many times in studies since the 90s to cause DNA damage or RNA damage. They're made of the same stuff. So let's just say your system is being very taxed. It's being very taxed by Wi-Fi and cell phones every day. The system that repairs this DNA constantly, day and night, that's going on. Then all of a sudden you introduce some kind of virus or something else that is ripping apart and tearing down that RNA or DNA. You've already got a stressed out system. Now you're overstressing that same system. That is a problem. So you need to basically address the EMFs is indirectly helping you address the CV or any virus potentially, if they're related in this way. So that's a very important connection. So just addressing the EMFs in a proper way does address your strength to handle any virus such as CV or anything else. So with that being said, let's go to solutions of how we can lighten this load on this system that we have. First, I'm going to cover the teaser to this video said there's 2 supplements. I'm going to at least go into 3. The first two I think I've covered before. So the first one is magnesium. The reason magnesium is so important, it's not only an antioxidant, and it's got some other things, but it has been shown in studies to help stop the voltage-gated calcium channels from opening. We theorize that that's the number one way that we are getting calcium flooded in and DNA damage and all the stuff happens, and watch our other videos to see that again. But if you can stop the voltage-gated calcium channels from opening, potentially you don't have the symptoms from EMFs. At least, we have not seen any evidence. You can take a calcium channel blocker medication, which I'm not here to suggest anybody taking any medications or not. But if you took one, that has been shown to reduce symptoms of people who have EMF sensitivities. So there's like some evidence right there that we're on the right track, that we're looking at the right thing, the right mechanism of how EMFs are affecting people. So magnesium is something that it's hard to get magnesium that's good to absorb. If you take magnesium, you have loose stool, you already know right there it's probably not being absorbed. That's why it's coming flying out of you, okay? If you take magnesium and you don't have loose stool, there's a pretty good evidence that is absorbing in your system the way it's supposed to. And here's a problem. Magnesium is one of those few vitamins and minerals that is just almost absent in our soil today. So food years ago had lots of magnesium in it. Now you can eat all the fruits and vegetables you want, and you're probably very short in magnesium anyway. So getting a good supplement, like possibly magnesium glycinate or one of the others that are easy to absorb, is good. So the second thing, and this is big, nucleotides. You can go on Amazon. I'm going to promote Premier Research Labs, a company that is fantastic. They make a product called NucleoImmune. That's a natural form of nucleotides, okay? But you can get nucleotides on Amazon right now. During this period we're in, I took those just about every day, a little bit, because your liver makes nucleotides that are the building blocks of RNA and DNA. So if you've got a bunch of guys in a construction site ready to rebuild, but there's no materials to rebuild anything or build anything, they're just sitting there, nothing's happening. So when a virus comes in and attacks RNA or DNA, it breaks things down. If you don't have the materials that build it back up again, then your body might be stuck in a hole. And if that hole gets dug too deep, you may have symptoms for a long time. You may have serious symptoms. You might even have fatal symptoms. I don't suggest that's going to happen to very many people at all, unless you have serious issues before that. But I'm just saying, in general, that's what understanding a virus is. So every flu season, have these nucleotides around, because that's something that you can take preventatively ahead of time, or you can take after you get it, boost that amount that you're taking way up so that your body can rebuild. If buildings are falling down in a city and every time one falls down, you build it back up. Another one falls down, you build it back up. You might not know the function of the city might be just the same. And your body, if everything that's breaking down, excuse me, is building right back up really fast, that may explain why a 10-year-old gets CV or something else and has it but has no symptoms, because they just rebuild everything so fast that it doesn't even bother them. So without beating that dead horse, rebuilding RNA and DNA with that is fantastic. It helps both things, because guess what? EMFs have been shown to cause DNA and RNA damage. So taking nucleotides now and then or every day a little bit helps relieve some of the stress off your liver from making them, and that's not a bad idea either. Now, third, I haven't talked about this before, but something that could help both is antioxidants in general, okay? I'm not going to go through every single antioxidant. There's vitamin C, there's B vitamins, there's so many things. I could go into foods and different vitamins. Now, here's the thing about free radicals. All free radicals are not created the same. So it's good to not just take one antioxidant like a bunch of vitamin C and think, I got my my antioxidants. I really encourage you to take like a broad range of antioxidants, because vitamin C is really good for these free radicals, and then another antioxidant is really good for these, and another antioxidant is really good for these. So it's good to have a mix of different kinds of antioxidants. So go see a nutritionist or get online and Google all the different good antioxidant foods and supplements. And that's something good to be on to address both EMFs and CV, okay? Now, one really important way to address CV and EMFs I've already mentioned, is get a product that really, really addresses the EMFs well. Because if that system is not taxed, you have a better chance. Now, could be total coincidence. Amongst my family and some people I know that are fully remediated their homes and their lives. And some of them did, and some of them didn't do these other hints that we're already talking about, supplements and things like that. I've had CV, my wife, my baby, my mom, my dad, like half my family in Baltimore, a lot of people that I know, okay? And all the people that I know that have addressed the EMFs already, many of which have taken some of these other nutritional advices themselves and even done a few other things, I don't know anybody with a serious case. And I know some young people and a couple in my family that did not address any of this stuff, that were young, like 30 years old range, that had a really bad case. So maybe it's a big coincidence. Maybe all the people that I know that address EMFs really well just got lucky. But maybe I'm onto something. And maybe fully addressing the EMFs with products that really work can really help outside of just the EMF issue. Okay? So I'm going to cover also what cities and towns and countries have been banning 5G already. The list is so long. It's incredible. So what I did is I put it on our website. So if you go to emfsoul.com and you go to, I want to say it's EMF Education, it's one of the tabs up top. And from there, I believe you click on the 5G. There's different categories of education. You click on the 5G part. I apologize, we're having a little IT issue, but there's no picture. But if you just page down, you'll see that there's an article. Click on the article, and that'll list over 40 different countries, towns, and cities that have already been banning 5G in various ways. That doesn't include, that's in addition to, by the way, the over 40 countries that have already been addressing 4G and under, those kind of EMFs, like regular cell phones, regular Wi-Fi, banning them in elementary schools, banning them in schools, not allowing towers to go near schools and churches and things like that. So that's a whole nother issue. So there's a lot of this activity going on in the world. The world's waking up to this stuff. I'm excited. I still see some cool things happening with our company where if we get certain proofs that we're working on, and or meters, that my goal is to one day fix every cell tower so that you can drive through the neighborhood and you can be living underneath one, like I do, by the way. Still, I moved to South Carolina and we still have less than a block away a monster tower. I've addressed the EMFs there, totally remediated them. I don't think this neighborhood, I think this is one of the best places for anybody around here to live as far as EMFs go, because that's fully addressed over there and fully remediated. So I trust our stuff. It's amazing. And my goal is to just work with the cell companies, the cell tower making companies, the tech people, the people making the Wi-Fi routers. One day we can just produce products. They can just mail them to you, or you go to the store and buy them and they're already done. They're already taken care of. That is my goal. And I do think that's going to happen one day. It's a lot of other industries that are producing toxic things like chemicals and things that go in foods, and some argue that, vaccines and there's all these things. And what's the answer is always, don't do it, don't buy it. And then you got the companies, and this is big power struggle between the population who doesn't agree and the companies who are promoting it. It's a big mess. Here, I think we can actually work with the companies one day. We can make them more profitable by helping them remediate the EMFs and all of their products. That, I believe, is going to happen one day. I really do. So I'm excited for that. Now, just a couple of quick reminders. If you're going to use our products to remediate your EMFs, and I hope you trust them, and most people on here probably already have, and many of you already have testimonials. But if you're going to use our products, or any products that you trust, first of all, get products that you trust. And second of all, how do you stay up with this constant increase of more 5G, more 4G, more, and the military's using stuff up to 10G. I heard, people telling me from the military, rumors have it. So how do you keep up with this onslaught of radiation that we're being exposed to that's just going skyrocketing every year? It's nuts. It's like hard to imagine that we could get more, and we just double it and times 10 and times 100. It just keeps going and going. How do you keep up with this? Because if you get products today and your house is remediated, I don't know if it's 6 months, a year, 1 month, 2 years. I don't know how far down the road where your neighborhood or the whole planet Earth has increased the EMF so bad that what you have is not really doing the job anymore. So what do? I advise you to please keep watching our stuff, keep checking in on our website. I'm going to have webinars saved on, these are saved on Instagram and Facebook. So check in with us and make sure that the world didn't just increase. Also, when we come out with a new product, it's probably because the old product's not enough anymore, and that happens periodically. Not too long ago, we came out with our home harmonizer, which is much better than our old one. So keep up to date, and if you really want to be not worrying about this, like me, over-remediate things. It's going to be worse tomorrow, and worse the next day, and worse next week, and worse next month, and worse next year. If you don't want to revisit this all the time, it's a pain in the butt to have to worry about it. Over-remediate. If you have one of our reps that are in your area, they can come to your place to test for free on that first visit. Find out what your home needs and get an extra box, and you don't have to deal with this for years. You can come back in a couple of years. So that's just a little friendly advice. And then lastly, I just want to say a reminder, like I really feel that we got enough crazy stuff in this world today that if you over-remediate things or even just remediate them, this is something you just have peace of mind with. This is something you don't have to worry about. I'm not. I'm concerned in trying to help other people now. But personally, I'm not worried about it for myself, my wife, my beautiful young daughter, and I feel really good about that. So you can too, and thank you very much for listening today. So let's see if we have any questions.
Anna Mintz had a question. What can you suggest to improve redox cells?
Let's see. Where are we looking at?
Right here.
Redox cells. I don't have anything specific for that. So when I don't know about something, I'm not going to kind of shoot off. So somebody asked, what do you suggest to improve redox cells? So I don't know the answer, so I'm not going to go there. So.
Sunday. No. We're good.
Okay, no questions there. If anybody else has questions about specifically today, would be nice. If you have anything else about EMFs in general and so forth, let me know.
Or they're watching the replay. Ask them, we'll answer them later.
Okie doke. Well, thank you guys for listening. I think we're good.
Good to go.
Hold on just a sec. Somebody asked a question. They have older cell chips from 2018 and 19. I'm pretty sure we've had the same cell chip now for, let's think, probably 3 years. We haven't had to upgrade it at all because it's still working great. I bought on purpose a 5G phone. I haven't been everywhere because how you connect the towers can sometimes matter. So in one city or one part of a city or one street may test on a phone differently than the other. But it seems like my phone is fully remediated and I haven't had anybody else tell me differently. So I think your chip's probably great from a few years ago. So, and the good news is it's not an on-off button. So if a cell chip was older and it wasn't taking care of a cell phone anymore, maybe it would go down, a few percent. It wouldn't just not work at all. It's not like that. So that's the good news. So, okay.
She also wanted to know if it's on the same phone, but you can switch it, of course. Take it from one phone to the next. For a 2-bedroom apartment, would you recommend 2 room harmonizers or 3?
2-bedroom apartment. Do I recommend 2 or 3 room harmonizers? I recommend you get a home harmonizer because it's so strong. It's going to do the job really, really well. And if you have the fuse box, that's going to be a metal box around where all the fuses are inside, and it should be metal. If you can hang our home harmonizer, as long as it's not an eyesore in some horrible place, I would have an eyesore because it's too important. But you take the home harmonizer box and you put it hanging on the wall so that the edge of our box crosses right over and just touches the edge of the metal around your fuse box. And that's probably the strongest, best way that you can remediate your apartment. Even a booster box would be stronger than definitely stronger than 2 and probably stronger than the 3 room harmonizers in most cases. So that's the way I would do it. I would only use room harmonizers if I absolutely had to. If I didn't have access to, that. So if you have a business and your business doesn't have a fuse box or something like where all the electricity is coming into your business, you don't have an option, use room harmonizers. If you're traveling, you go to a hotel, use room harmonizers. If you're in an office, you got a cubicle or you got your own little office area, use a room harmonizer. Apartments can use them, but I would try real hard to use the boxes if you could. So, and I would absolutely use at least 3, if not more. The reason being, apartments and condos that have a lot of neighbors, the problem is your walls are connected. Your floor is connected. Your ceiling may be somebody else's floor. And you remediate your space, but right on the other side of all of your walls and ceiling and floor and so forth, you may have a router that's totally unaddressed completely, like right on the other side. Like you may be sleeping with your head, and the other side of the wall is a neighbor, like my old place was, and a few feet away could be cell phones, routers, Alexa, like it could be anything. So I would definitely put a room harmonizer by where you sleep as close as you can for that reason. But that's why I would overdo it, and I would get the home harmonizer if you can. And it can change. Businesses can change depending on their neighbors. I remember we remediated one place that got worse because another neighbor moved in this 2-story building on the 2nd floor above somebody's business. And they were some tech company and had all this top secret EMF techie stuff. And all of a sudden the place tested what we did before was not working anymore. So they had to, address it with more product and more product. So that's just all stuff to keep in mind. It's not, how big a space is. It's how bad the EMFs are from you and your immediate neighbors. If there's air between you and your neighbor, that's really good. The more solid material that the EMF is conducting through, like a wall and a floor, the worse it's going to be for you. So.
Cindy said, I have a question about the wristbands. Do we need to get a new one for my kid and for an adult band also?
So we are working on making stronger personal devices for kids and adults, but oh my gosh, we've been working on a stronger room harmonizer for well over 6 months. We're done. Design's done. Testing's done. We're waiting on... it's amazing what's going on because of this pandemic we're in. It's like nothing gets done. We're trying months and months just trying to make a $20-some thousand mold to make the new room harmonizer, and we still don't have the mold done. It's like amazing to us. So I wish I could predict the exact time. We're working on making them stronger. Most of my reps that know how to do muscle testing know that you should have, adults especially, should have 2 personal devices. You can take the chip out of the band so you can wear one, you can put another one in your pocket. The good news about young kids, they're usually pretty small. So it's easier to remediate somebody half the size of an adult. So they're still pretty good with the kid bands, which are the same strength as the adult bands currently. So they're much stronger and better for a kid than an adult band is on an adult, because it's, again, the same strength. So, adults I would definitely suggest wearing 2. Kids can probably get away with 1, no problem.
Sandy also asked, how do we check the strength of the old cell chips?
How you test the strength of the old cell chips is you get somebody to muscle test it. And, if this was a cell phone, which it's not, if you test a cell phone on people, you're going to get wrong results occasionally. In other words, if the person is detoxing, they might test weak. Or if they still have a sensitivity, which we're going to address next week, they may test weak. Most people are going to test strong. With our chip on it, boom. But I would like to put 2 fingertips on the cell phone and hold it at arm's length away from me and have somebody muscle test it. Now I'm testing the phone, how the EMFs are affecting this phone, which is at arm's length. If I test it here, I'm testing how I'm reacting to whatever this thing is. And that has different variables in it. So 2 fingertips, firm pressure, far away. Also, do it while you're making a phone call. So call somebody, like in the room or whatever. Put it on a phone call. Put your 2 fingertips on the screen, right in the middle of the screen. Hold it away from you, and it should muscle test strong. If it's not, it's time to, it's time for us to upgrade the product. But right now it's testing great on every phone that we've tested it on. So that's how you test if any product's going to work. If you test anybody else's product, I bet you $100, and not officially, I'm going to get in trouble on the internet forever, but I would bet you a bunch of money that that everybody else's stickers and cell phone products, once you make a phone call or you live stream video and you hold it at arm's length, firm pressure, fingertips, firm pressure on the phone, boom, it's going to go weak. Ours is the only one that's really testing strong still, so, and has for years.
Sandra said, I asked about the cell chip because lately my hand feels tingly when I hold my phone, and I haven't had that since before I first started using the
so
cell chip.
2 things. Either one, you got a strong phone, a weird place, and the chip's not enough. Unlikely, but you can muscle test that. More than likely, you've developed a sensitivity. The problem is, if you develop a sensitivity, it may not be because of your phone. It's because all the other unprotected cell phones or unaddressed or unremediated cell phones that are all around that may be affecting you. So you now have a sensitivity that you didn't have before, possibly. So that's something that you definitely want to look into. So for all the practitioners, next Thursday at 3, attend that. We're going to show you how to take care of that. That's real important. And more people are getting that. So definitely something to look into.
Anna Mint said she uses a room harmonizer when she gets on the planes.
So you can use a room harmonizer on the planes. I like to use a Better Z's. The really sensitive people, they just put the Better Z's right in their pocket or their lap. And I've had some really sensitive people that couldn't even sit in an airport finally have some relief from just wearing the Better Z's. That would be stronger than wearing one of our personal devices and better. So when you're really bad, so when I go to remediate a cell tower or a place that's right next to a cell tower that has one like on the building, I'm shoving Better Z's in my pocket. I take my personal cards out because you don't want them to like interact with each other, and I put a Better Z's in my pocket instead. And I'll go from testing terrible to testing super strong, almost any, like right next to any cell tower I've been near. And so that's what you do when you're in a real bad situation.